What is up? Let's see. Everything looks like it is going through okay. So, welcome in. I'm Terry, or T, and this is the, if you really think about it, I guess channel, community, and the unprofessional podcast. So, first things first, this is not what I thought I would be talking about this week. Okay. As a matter of fact, this is something that has just recently happened, and it's good. So I had plans of coming in and telling a very different story tonight. But as the last couple of weeks have went on, I've thought, you know what? This might help somebody. So um, I'm like, if I could help one person either get off of pain medication or never get on it, it'd be worth me doing this, okay? So, I mean, there's going to be some stuff, there's some stuff about this I'm not the proudest of, but in order to get my point across, I think maybe I might need to tell it. So, we'll see. So, I will start at the beginning. So, my journey into like pain meds really started almost 20 years ago. And that's when I started in retail. Never had any real issues with any physical stuff until I started in retail. I started in retail and was working in big box, medium box, little box, any boxes. I was in. Got some funny stories about retail too to tell later. Tons of them. But anyway, so I was in retail. I did retail like that. Basically, was over trucks. It seemed like everywhere I went, I guess I was younger and in good shape. So everybody wanted me to do trucks, and I didn't care, man. I would do them. I was like, that's fine. You got a truck to do? I do it. So started doing the trucks and everything. Did retail and really didn't have really any problems for like the first 4 or 5 years. Just didn't. Um, and then all of a sudden, one day, this was probably 15 years ago, thereabouts. I'm not great with dates for sure, but it was probably 15 years ago. I remember falling out of bed one morning, hurting because uh, my sciatica nerve had got me, and it got pinched, and I rolled over and fell out of bed and fell on my face and couldn't get up for a long time, and eventually got up and was like, okay, so something's wrong, something's got to be done. So so I ended up going and seeing a doctor, and they put me on like muscle relaxers and different stuff like that, whatever. um, and then so I went back to work. It was taking my medicine and everything, and then a few months later, I like pulled something one day. I felt this pop in my back, and I felt like a bolt of lightning go down my leg. And I was like, oh, what did I just do? And I told people, and they said they sound like you just ruptured a disc or something. And I thought, well, surely not. Surely I didn't blow a disc out. And so I go to an orthopedic uh, specialist and everything, and they do MRIs and all that kind of good stuff. And it turns out I got three ruptured discs, two severe and one pretty severe. And so I go in and I talk to my orthopedic and everything, and he's like, "Well, we can go in and fix it." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that. Let's go in and fix it." So he's like, "Okay." So we schedule back surgery. So I have a what they call a microdiscectomy is what I had on my lower back. Microlemonectomy too. I don't know why I remember that. Can't remember how many years ago it was, but I remember that. Um, so I have that done, and they send me to pain management, and I didn't know anything about pain management. I really didn't know anything about pain pills. About 15 or 20 years ago, they didn't talk about pain meds and stuff and opioids like they do now. There's not as much info out on them. Still not enough. But so I start going to pain management. Okay, I start going to my doctor, and I'm just gonna call him MSK. I don't wanna say anybody's name just in case, but we'll just call him MSK. And when I first started going to pain management, there was probably, when I would go, there would be maybe 8 or 10 people down there waiting. And I started going down there, and first few times I went, they were just like, I asked them, and they're just like, yeah, we're going to put you on these. I think they put me on like Norco 7.5s or something like that. It wasn't anything major. And they said, well, we'll put you on this, and then you just take that for so long, and you just keep taking that, and that'll take care of your pain. And I'm like, okay, cool. Take care of my pain, good. So I did that, and I rocked along for a month or two. And I started realizing, man, I really like taking those pain meds, because not only does it help my back, it makes me feel good, which is what pain meds do. Which, if you don't know, which most people do, but if you don't know, pain meds don't actually affect the pain. They don't go to the pain. What they do is they make your mind not care as much, and they make your mind not necessarily feel all of the everything coming to it. Uh, that's how pain meds work. They work by making you just feel real good. For lack of a better term, they just make you feel good. Uh, and that's what gets you hooked. But when I first started, nobody told me that. Nobody was like, man, you'll get hooked on them things. Nobody told me. They were just like, hey, I'll take them, and whatever. And I took them, and I liked them. So I was like, okay. So anyway, so I rock on back and forth. I end up with 4 more back surgeries. Okay. And then I go back to MSK. He had talked me into having a pain block on my neck, which I ended up having pain blocks later that were on my back, and they were good. Pain blocks on my back were good. As a matter of fact, up until a couple of months ago, I was still having them. I mean, I like the pain blocks. They help. But he had talked me into having one on my neck. So I was like, okay. So I was going down there or whatever, and I went down there that day to have my pain block. Well, he gets me back there. They get me back there and everything, and they put me under. Well, I wake up like, I don't know, my face is facing down to the floor, and I wake up. Because if you don't know, when they give you a pain block, they don't give you very much anesthesia, just enough to kind of put you under and then pull you right back out, right after you're done. Because they don't keep you under but 15 or 20 minutes normally. So anyway, so it was doing that. And I woke up, and I heard MSK and his anesthesiologist, I guess, and he goes, oh crap. And the anesthesiologist goes, what? And MSK goes, all the medicine went to the left side, and I was supposed to put it on the right. And the anesthesiologist is like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to put some more on the right? And he's like, nah, he'll be all right. And I heard him. I know exactly what he said. And I'm like, that piece of crap. I'm like, he's going to do that, right? He's gonna just, I paid $200 copay to come down here. So I was pretty upset. So I thought, when I come back, I'm gonna have me a new pain management doctor found. Because that made me mad. Oh my God, did that make me mad. Well, so what I ended up doing, about Well, I didn't do anything. The next day, they called me from MSK's office. The next morning, we need to do a pill count on you. And I'm like, I was just down there yesterday. And they're like, oh, we know, but we have to do them on separate days. Or they told me some bull. And the problem was, I worked like an hour and a half away from there. I was just there the day before. So, and to be honest with you, I was short some pills. I'll be honest with you, I was. Um, so I ended up finding a buddy of mine, grabbed a couple of his to have enough to go down there and count, so I'd have them. It wasn't anything major, like either, too. It was like 10 or 15, I guess, probably. And that's nothing for me. Um, I went down there to do my pill count, and they counted them and everything. And then a couple of days later, I get a letter saying that they booted me for fraud or attempted fraud, I think is what they said, or something like that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I was like, I was going to leave you anyway. I'm just ticked that, I spent all that money on doing that. And I got to thinking, I'm like, when I first started going down there, there'd be 8 to 10 people in at a time. By the time I was down there at the end, they had built a new office and expanded to like hold 30 to 40 people. It was always full. Most of the time, you'd end up having to stand in a pain management office. You're having to stand because they have so many people there that's either there for procedures or, to get their pills or whatever. So I feel like that was a major reason I got booted. Not because of the pill issue, but because of they got plenty of people. My God, they can barely see all the people they got now. And I lived an hour and a half away. So, if I was going to weed out, I'd probably weed out that way. Just say. So anyway, so I get booted from there. They send me a certified letter saying that, I can't go back or whatever. And I'm like, nah, I don't care. I'm like, you wasn't doing me no good anyway. Because, I was kind of upset with them because they had never explained anything to me about pain meds. And then I just end up, and then you boot me off of them, which luckily at that time I did know some people, so I was able to get some. Had I not, there's no telling what I would have went through during that time. So a little bit down the road, I continue taking my pain meds and everything. And I hadn't had any more surgeries. I did that for a while and had my 4 surgeries. And every time I would start to get pretty good, I'd end up having another surgery. And it would put me behind and I would be back on pain medication. And, it was like a never ending cycle. And I got tired of it. And then I got to where I was taking a lot of pain medication. Um, but the thing about it, the thing people don't realize that's never take pain medication, when you've taken pain medication for years, it doesn't ever feel like the first time you take it. It never feels like that basically again, especially when you take it chronically every day, which I had for years and years and years and years and years. What I always told people is I take my medicine. I can't tell that I take it, but I can tell when I don't, if that makes any sense. Because at that point, I'd been taking it a long time. And I mean, I actually had gotten changed over from Norco to Percocets. So I ended up on Percocet 10s. Which reminds me of one time I was going to MSK. That was before this, where I ended up down there on Percocets. But when I went down to MSK, I saw one of his nurse practitioners one time, and she come in and she's like, how's your medicine doing? I'm like, oh, it's doing pretty good. And she's like, is it enough? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, I mean, she's like, you're taking 3 a day. She's like, do you ever have like a night or something where you wake up hurting and you need that extra one? I'm like, yeah, sometimes I do that. And she's like, well, let's move you up to 4 a day. And of course, what am I going to say? More pain meds. Yeah. Let me tell you, pain management doctors and pharmacists are nothing more than white collar drug dealers. I mean, they really are. I hate to say it. The pharmacists are drug dealers because they try to control what you have. You know, that's the reason I say pharmacists are. It amazes me. You go in to see a pharmacist and they can tell you more about what you need to take, even not just meeting you, than your doctor can. So, anybody that's ever been on pain meds for a while can tell you that dealing with them in a pharmacy atmosphere is probably one of the most frustrating things you'll ever do, because every time you walk into a pharmacy with a controlled substance prescription, you only get one of 2 looks. One is you're a dealer. 2 is you're an addict. Okay, and like I said, anybody that's ever taken and gotten a prescription filled for them, tell me if I'm not right. I mean, and that frustrates me. It's like every time you go in, you know that people are just judging you. You can just see it all over their faces. And the bad part is, those things are, I mean, they can turn you down to fill them too. Like I use a pharmacy as of this moment that I will not be using a week from now. I'm going to put it that way. My pharmacy, I've been with them for 8 years, and oh my God, have they frustrated me to the point I'm moving pharmacies. And, you know, between my whole family, I think we have about 14 different prescriptions. But I am so frustrated at pharmacies. And it's not always the pharmacy. This the last time was. It wasn't really the pharmacy, it was the associate. Um, it's not really the pharmacy, it's just the aggravation that you have to go through. Um, because here's how it goes. If you happen to be watching this and you've never taken pain meds before, few things. One, don't, unless you're like in the hospital and you only take them for a couple of days. Okay. Other than that, don't take pain meds. You don't need them. The pain med is not affecting your pain. It's not helping your pain. Okay. It's not. So first and foremost, you know, that, like I said, I want to help people. I wish to the good Lord that I had somewhere I could have looked the first couple of times I ran out of pills. Okay. And see, what aggravates me is the same people that get you hooked on the medication are the same people that will kick you off of it. The ones that know what it does the worst, and the ones that get you addicted to it, are the ones that, you know. So that's frustrating. So, like I said, years ago, I was dealing with my pharmacy the other day. Let's go to that story. So the other day, I went to my pharmacy. I had my last pain med prescription. I say hopefully, my last one ever. I'm not going to be taking pain meds. So, and even like that, it was such a simple exchange, but yet pulled up and I go to the pharmacy and I pull up and I'm like, hey, I said, wanted to see if y'all had these in stock. I'm like, I think it's due because they recently changed how often they fill, which that's another thing you have to deal with. That's frustrating. So, excuse me, let me get me just a sip of something real quick. So I'm like, what? So, yeah, I was just gonna see if y'all could fill this. And she looks at it and she's like, I don't even think we have this in stock. I was like, okay. And she walked off. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's weird. I was like, they've always had that in stock. And she comes back, she's like, yeah, we don't have this. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, do you know if I said, do you know if the one down the street she's like, you just have to call them. I don't know. And I'm like, I said, okay. I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, to be honest with you, I said, I can wait. I said, are y'all going to get any more back in? She said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if we can order it anymore. I turn and look at my dad and he goes, do they always treat you like that? And I said, that's the girl that's always the nicest to me. And he goes, I would never feel at a place that talked to me like that. I said, you know what? I said, you are absolutely right. And I said, not again. I'm like, not again. So I'm like, so I got frustrated. Okay, I got frustrated. And I'm like, I'm done with them. I'm like, I told my dad, I said, it's this way no matter which pharmacy you go into. I said, see, I wanted to use, which I won't say, let's just say that my pharmacy has green has green in the photo, their logo. Yeah, there you go. Green in their logo. We'll just say that. So I've been to multiple ones of these. Like, the bad part is, like, you have to have, if you are going to be on pain medication, you have to have one pharmacy that knows you. Because if you don't, this is what happened. Like, I travel a lot and have for years. And I have been to other branches of that pharmacy, my pharmacy that I use, say, a little piece down the road. I go to a different one. And basically, if they don't know you, you get you're a drug dealer or you're a drug addict. And get used to it, because it's every time you go into anywhere to get medication. And it sucks because everybody does it. And my problem a lot of times is, people find out I took pain medication. They'd be like, well, you're a young guy. It's like, yeah, I've had 4 back surgeries too, so that makes a difference. But honestly, pain meds are one of the worst things that ever happened to me. If I had it to go over again, I would have never taken the first one. The first couple I took, I just wanted to kind of see what they would do. And I took them and it made me feel good. And I thought, well, what's the harm? Because I didn't know no better. Guess what the harm was? 14 years later, I'm struggling to come off of. So now let's find out and get down to the nitty gritty. How did I do it? So it took a while, first of all. I come off of them like 3 times before I come off of them. And every time it was the same thing. I was always like, yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I don't need to be doing them. I think I can get by. I think I can get by without doing them, you know. Because, I mean, honestly, I never sold the first pill. I never sold the first pill. I never done it for anything illegal. Well, all I did was took more than I was supposed to. Which, if you don't know how pain meds work, very quickly do you become accustomed to whatever you're taking. Very quickly. And then you have to, it was, in my case, within a week or two of taking a certain strength, you would almost have to up it. Well, the only way to up it is to take more. you know, if you're saying like taking Percocet 10s, no, that's the only way to up it is, take something bigger. Um, so yeah, so I had been on them and everything, and I was going. Um, I was going to the pharmacy, going to get them filled and everything. And I just finally said, no, that's enough. No more. No more. Okay. So, like I said, I had started trying to quit. What I would normally do is I would overtake at the first of the month. And then when I ran out, I would try to find somebody I could borrow some from and then pay them back out of mine or whatever. That's not a good thing to do, by the way. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I was doing all that kind of stuff. And so when when I finally got to the point that I said, no more, no more. If you just say, I don't really need to take these, I need to. No, you have to be 100% mind made up that I am not taking these things anymore. I'm done. When you say that, you're to the point that you can stop. Also, another thing, if you try to come off of opioids, don't do it by yourself. Never ever try to come off of it by yourself, because they're awful, especially if you go cold turkey. I don't do the cold turkey. I did it once, and I laid in bed for days and felt like I had the flu. I mean, that's what they do to you. When you get used to taking them and you take them away from your body goes, no, I want them back. And then it makes you feel like dirt. And then it says, the only thing that'll make you feel better, take a pill. I mean, your body will tell you that over and over and over, and you can't listen to it. You have to be stronger willed than that. And eventually, I was. I had to get pretty far down deep in the weeds, but I eventually got to the point that I said, I'm done. So I was taking too many, and then I was buying, right? Well, what eventually ended up happening was I would take too many, and then so and so wouldn't have them. Then I'd call so and so, and I don't got none. I'd call so and so. Well, I don't know where you can get any. All of a sudden, it became where I couldn't find any extra. And I'm not the type that's just going to go around a bunch of places. I'll contact a few people I know that might have something, and if they don't have it, I'm not going to be out roaming the streets looking for it. That's just not me. I'm not going to do that. So I finally got up the nerve and was like, whoa, I've got to figure out a way to try to help come off these things. So I started looking different ways to come off of them. And I looked up some stuff, talked to some people, and one guy told me, he's like, start taking Xanax. I said, well, why would I do that? I said, then I'd just get hooked on Xanax. That's the same thing, basically, as far as like a controlled substance, something you can get addicted to. I'm like, I don't want to exchange one drug for the other. Well, that's kind of what I did, but it's not really a drug. So what happened was I started running out, started not being able to find any. So I started looking up, and I'm like, what in the world could I take? and I found something. And as soon as I found it, I said, I'm going to give it a shot. And it took me a while, but it's this right here. Kratom. I know people have probably heard of it. I think some popular podcasters have talked about it, which I didn't know when I started taking it. So I went out and just bought some. Like, I'm going to try it and see what it does, see if it helps. So I would run out and I would start taking these little capsules. So I took 2 or 3 of them and I'm like, I still feel like dirt. And I took 2 or 3 more. I still felt like dirt a little later. And then I got to looking, and these things are like so weak. I mean, they are so weak. I mean, they're sold in store. I mean, of course, they're not legal to buy in every state, unfortunately. Considering there's something that can actually help you get off drugs. So I started taking these, right? So I could never get no relief out of them. So I didn't buy the capsules the next time. I bought the powder, and I started taking a little cup thing full of it to get more. Bingo. I found my dosage. It took probably 75% of the withdrawals away. Okay. Now look, there is nothing that you can take that is going to fully take away all of your cravings, all of your withdrawal symptoms, because if there did, everybody would be quit. Do you want to know why most people don't quit? Because it's freaking hard, and you feel like death for like a week or two, and you know that all you got to do is take one little pill and you're better. I mean, you're better. Just take it. Boom. And the thing about me, I have a high tolerance anyway, which sucks because I can take a lot of them. That's not good when you're on a medication like that. You don't want a high tolerance. You want to be able to take a Norco 5 and be out. That's what I'd rather be able to do. But unfortunately, that's not me. So I start taking these things and I find my right dosage. And so I start taking them like pain meds. I start taking them about every 4 hours. I find my dosage, pop it. I ended up going and getting capsules later because it was just easier for me to keep a count on how many capsules I had. So I was like, well, I'll just get my capsules. So but now what I do is I'm off my pain meds, right? So when I first came off my pain meds, I've been off of them for about 2 weeks. So when I first came off my pain meds, I was taking 15 kratom capsules per dose. I know it seems like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, you got to think this is just an herb that grows in the ground. I mean, it's not. I mean, you see, it's that. I mean, there's nothing really to it. Now, I'm not going to say that kratom is 100% without any side effects or issues or anything, because like I said, nothing it is just 100% without it. The only issue I've ever had with kratom is it will cause constipation. But you know what else causes constipation? Taking 5 Percocet 10s. So, cost-wise, kratom is way cheaper than buying off the street. I can tell you that. For instance, like this thing of 500 kratom pills, I think was $50. And if you was doing 10 of them, that would be 50 doses. So I'm probably getting what? About 30 doses roundabout out of that. About 10 days, 10 to 15, 10 to 12 days I'm getting out of it. Maybe more than that. Some days I take 4 times and some days I take 3. But like I said, the first thing you need to do if you're on pain medication, you got to get to a lower level pain med if you're going to come off. Really, in all honesty, I changed from Percocets to Norcos about 6 months, probably about 4 months ago. I don't think it's hardly been 6 months. I changed from Percocet to Norco. Okay. I didn't realize how much stronger Percocets are than Norco. So be careful. But that was step one. I had to lower what I was taking. But I made myself do it. I was like, because honestly, I don't hurt that much all the time, especially not the last few months. It's like I've gotten pain blocks and gotten enough of them that I've kind of built my back up now. I haven't had a surgery in a long time, so my back's fine. It's like I can make it without pain meds. You don't have to take them. The main thing though, is like I said, you got to get to a point where you say enough is enough. I am not doing this anymore. No more. Because it will affect you. It will affect your family. It will cost you money. It will make you feel sick. I mean, nothing good comes out of taking pain medication. Nothing. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, do not let them give you pain medication unless you're like having surgery or if you have like a kidney stone. Because I've had kidney stones and you're giving me some morphine if I have a kidney stone. I ate it. That's all I would take. I wouldn't want anything else while I was there. As soon as the pain would be gone, I'd be like, no, take, nothing else. But you cannot be like, well, I'll get me a few and take them. Because, yeah, you'll get a few and take them. Like, say if you take 3 a day, it was nothing for me to take 3 at a time. I mean, nothing for me to take 3 at a time. I took a lot more than that. So if you think about taking 3 at a time, you're taking your whole day's worth of doses in one. So you're going to use up your pills quick. If I had more willpower, what I would have done is slowly dwindle down, like let's say I was taking 3 Norcos a day. I would go to 2 Norcos and 15 kratom pills maybe at night or maybe in between. I'd take my morning dose, then take kratom in the afternoon, then take an evening dose before I went to bed. That would be a good way to do it as well. I can't do it that way because if I got pain pills, I'm going to take pain pills and then I'll take kratom. I mean, that's just how I am. What's the use in lying? I know I'm lying. So you got to be true to yourself. You got to be honest with yourself to come off these things. You got to say, hey, I need to come off these things. This is an issue. And they make it so hard. Nobody tells you how to do it. Do you know how pain management wants you to get off of pain pills? By putting you on Suboxone, which is another drug that's awful for you. It's like a worse version of pain medication, which is also a drug that you can get addicted to. You don't want Suboxone. You don't want to be on anything. The point is, when you're on pain medication, your doctor and your pharmacy has control over you. Because just let, like, like a pain management place is all about helping you until there's an issue, like they need a physician's authorization from an insurance company. They're all about helping you until there's like extra work for them. And then you get put on the back burner, and it takes them 2 or 3 days to get your authorization sent in. Then it takes your insurance company 2 or 3 days to get it to the pharmacy. And then you deal with stuff like that constantly. And it gets so frustrating. You're just, you get to a point where you're like, it would be so much easier to just come off these things, even though they're hard as crap to come off of. I mean, I got to that point. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to guarantee this works for everybody too, because I mean, I don't know. It worked for me. So I'll figure if it works for me, it could work for others too. So, but I so want to see some other people come off of pain meds. Um, and I know there's probably people out there that want to. Um, I'm going to be doing a weekly podcast where I'll talk about different things and stories and music and real life stuff. I mean, I don't care. I don't have a set script. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. So if some people came over on Wednesday night when I'm streaming and wanted to hang out and discuss um, coming off opioids, for instance, I would love to tell you and help you. Like I said, I replaced mine, and the great thing about kratom too is I've already done it once, and it's so much easier to come off kratom because you can come off like one pill at a time, and it's so weak your body doesn't even catch it. You know, like say I take 15. Most people would have to take 15, by the way. Most people take probably 9 or 10, and probably be okay. Um, so yeah, you take those, you take 9 or 10 of them, and then boom, you're not going to be, kratom don't get you high, but it will cut out the withdrawals. Uh, you will be amazed when you find you're correct how much kratom. Also, I like the green. I typically like to get green mangda. Seems to do the best. It also gives you a slight energy burst, which also comes from pain meds. Give you a little energy burst. Well, so does kratom. So you get a little energy burst. You get the withdrawal symptoms basically 75% knocked out, say, and you can function until you can get. And I would say don't stay on kratom either, because like I said, don't just replace one drug for another, but replacing opioids with kratom. Which one's easier to come off of? Dude, kratom's not hard to come off of. Like I said, drop a pill off of what you take every couple of days, and within about a month, you'll be quit. I've already done it before, so it works. Um, but like I said, it may not totally get you off of it, but maybe it would give you enough that you could get there. Because I really want to see people come off that, because I know what it put me through, and I really tried to be good, and I know what it put me through, running out of medication and all of that. But that's the problem with pain meds. That's how they work. It takes more of them as you go for them to work. That's the reason it's awful that they put that for pain medication, especially chronic. I don't got a problem, like I said, if I had a kidney stone going in and getting like morphine, if I had a kidney stone or if I have surgery. But I don't think you should really be on something chronically that's addictive. I mean, I don't know, not for something that could possibly go away. I don't know. I just think they're a bad thing, and nobody like taking them more than I do. So if I can do it, you can do it. or anybody you know can do it. So, but anyway, that is my story of how I got on and got off of pain meds. So I will be continuing to update my progress as we go, and hopefully, have a few people jump on that says, "Hey, I'm trying it. You know, what do I do if this happens?" Or I'm trying it. But research too. Don't just go by what I say. I'm telling you what worked for me. Research it. You can do it. You can come off of it. But so that's going to be the stream for today. I will be back next Wednesday night, uh, around 7:30, 8 o'clock Central. And good luck to you out there if you're trying to come off of it. Good luck. And know that there's people out there rooting for you. Like, really, really know there's people that root for you and that care about you. Because I can tell you one thing, if you get in my community, I care about my people. Ask anybody that's ever worked for me. I care about my people. So if you come and be a part of my community, I think you'll enjoy it. So I will see you guys next Wednesday. I think I got a good story in mind. I think I might tell about the story I got called in the back seat of my car. I think that maybe the girl won't mind me telling that. All right, see you guys.